Okay, hello everybody, and welcome to another day of the Steam Summer Sales. How you doing, Matt? You having a good day?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Steam sales is up.
Yes. Today has been like ridiculously hot for me. I gotta say, like my computer crashed earlier, so if it crashes in the middle of this recording,
dude,
it's so hot.
I keep telling you need an upgrade, dude. You need to upgrade. Upgrade those fans, maybe at least.
Well, I've turned my like GPU fan because I'm pretty sure it's my GPU was crashing. I've turned it up to like way high today because just my system just kept going down. Like if anybody in the UK, they can relate. Trust me, it's incredibly hot today. Like I'm sweating my balls off just sat here.
You guys don't have AC in the UK?
We do, but like it's so cold and miserable all the time. Like it's not something I've ever invested in. I have known some people to have like ceiling fans and stuff though, and I'm like, is there any need? Anyway, all right. So Steam Summer Sales are going on. What do you think of the games today? Like, I've got to be honest, I don't have too much to say on a lot of these titles, so I'm not going to try to say much.
It's crazy how little I've played some of these games. I've always been interested in Borderlands and Witcher 2, and I recently got scolded for not played Witcher 2, so I probably should buy that one. But no, I haven't played anything but Tomb Raider, and I've beat Tomb Raider. That's pretty much it. How about you?
Yeah, so we're going to be looking at Tomb Raider. On the topic of Witcher 2, I feel like that's a fantastic game, and I've played my fair share of it, but for some reason as well, I don't know whether it's just because of stuff that was going on with me at the time of playing it, it's also one of the very few games that I've really enjoyed while playing it, but then just kind of forgot to play it again. You know, like the next day you wake up
and you just drop it.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen to me often. I usually get really invested in whatever title I'm playing, and I did enjoy The Witcher 2, but then like I realised it had been about a month and I hadn't played it, and then I thought, oh, if I go back I'm going to have to redo it. Don't let that be a critique on the game though, guys. I do think that's an incredible deal, 75% off. It's actually that's the cheapest game for today, and I don't know, okay, so Sniper Elite's slightly cheaper, but The Witcher 2 is an incredible title, like really, really cool. Borderlands 2, I played the original Borderlands. Borderlands 2, I don't know. I feel like if I had a lot more time, I'd invest in it, but that's going to be another good deal that a lot of people have their eyes on. As for the other stuff, you know, RPG Maker, I've got to be honest, I thought RPG Maker was mostly like a free set of tools, but apparently no, it's a commercial thing, and like the newest iteration of that's available for the daily deals.
Yeah, no programming, and you can like edit your, old Final Fantasy type game. It's basically what I call it's like Final Fantasy Maker.
Yes,
pretty much
yeah,
what it
Final
is.
Fantasy Maker. But then, like, people do make Pokemon games and stuff with it, but, I guess it all revolves around, like, you've got the overworld, and then it's all, like, instance battle systems and stuff. But, yeah, it's a really nice way it's a fun way, basically, to make JRPGs of your own. Like, I've got a friend who was quite into it for a while. I'm not sure whether he's still working on his own game with it, but it's very interesting. It's, like, appeals to, really basic, even young kids in its interface. It's quite intuitive, but it's got just as much depth and tools there for you to, full-time develop using it as an engine, which is a really interesting idea. And there's been loads of games trying to do that. What was like Little Big Planet and stuff, they always try it on the consoles, where RPG Maker's sort of like that perfect experience if you were to put it on PC, in my opinion. That's kind of how I see that game. You got Age of Empires 2 and stuff, HD edition, these are titles people are familiar with. But anyway, spent way too long on this. We're going to be looking at Tomb Raider for today, which is a game we've both played, yeah? So let's roll the footage.
Yeah.
Oh, and I need to, like, mute that. Okay, so basically, to film this video, so you guys know, I'm actually doing a Let's Play of this on my channel at the moment, so when I saw this was the deal, I was like, oh, hell yes! I've got loads of opinions on this, so
yeah, of course you do, yeah.
I literally just stole a bunch of my own footage from YouTube and cut it into a montage here. And if
That's
there's
copyright infringement.
Yeah, I know, it's terrible. It really is. I should not be doing this. But if there's any like spoilers and stuff that we see while we're doing our commentary here, I'll just cut it out later. But yeah, Tomb Raider, man, it's been a couple of months now since you've played it, right? What's your kind of lasting impressions of the game, and why is it a good deal?
I liked it as an adventure. It kind of seemed like it was going for the Uncharted. For people who've played Uncharted, it's going for the Uncharted feel to it, where there's action scenes that when you're sliding down the hills or you're trying to get away from somebody and stuff like that. So it has that Uncharted feel to it.
Yeah.
But it has that RPG elements that I really didn't spend much time into it.
Yeah, like when they were marketing this game, they really kind of pushed, oh, you're meant to be surviving on the island and it's non-linear and you have to hunt and you can upgrade your stuff and do blah, 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 blah and level up and stuff. Which actually, in the end, I don't know, it wasn't a massive part of the game, right? Really?
For me, like, I never did any of the temples, really.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know some people might hate me for that, but I just
Dude, you rushed through
let me
games.
finish it. Let me just finish it. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's like do I need to go through the temples? I apply this to Assassin's Creed, right? Because Assassin's Creed had these little side missions that you can go, these little temples, underground temples that you go through, and you get something extra.
Right.
I wasn't, since I did the RPG elements and I saw that I didn't care about the RPG elements. It didn't make me feel as powerful as oh man, it means something when I put points into this. So
Yeah.
I thought that the temples would just be a waste of my time, really, and the reward won't be a good investment, with my time.
Yeah, no,
basically.
I think I kind of get what you're saying. I mean, when I played it, I'm a big fan of this franchise. So when I played it, I went full kind of completionist mode, and I really spent a long time trying to get everything as I was playing through. But you are right in that. Okay, so we should explain to everyone that the crafting that is a large part of this game. As you progress, you can put skill points into various trees, which will aid you in combat and traversing the environment, and you can even upgrade your weapons. But all that said, though these are features, they are kind of weak. I agree with you. I went through and I did get everything, but at the same time, on my Let's Play at the moment, on my second run through, I'm very much realizing it doesn't actually matter what you put this stuff in. It has very minor effects on your character and the way the game plays. So that's kind of a weak side of the game, which, I'd very much agree with you with. Do you actually know sort of how this game ties into the other games?
Other than that end sequence that you totally reminded me of, no.
Okay, so like a lot of people are kind of, this is something I feel like we've got to say here, because a lot of people misinterpret what this Tomb Raider game is. They think it's like a prequel, or it's somehow connected to all the previous Tomb Raider games, of which there's been like 10 or some ridiculous number of them. There were like 7 in the first generation. Basically, this is a complete reboot of the series, so you don't need to know anything about what Tomb Raider was before. This is kind of like when James Bond comes back in another form, and it is a total 100% revamp. It's kind of the same, but only in themes and character alone. So it's still about a character named Lara Croft, but she doesn't exist in the same universe as any other iteration of Lara Croft we've ever seen. And
Right.
yes, this is an origin story, but that doesn't mean it's a prequel to the previous ones. So if people like see Tomb Raider straight away, they probably wouldn't even be at this point in the video, but if they see Tomb Raider and they think, I'm not interested in it, I didn't like the other ones, the truth is it's a totally new story now, and they've gone with like completely different gameplay, because the last generation of this is actually the third generation of Tomb Raider games. They rebooted it once before as well. The last iteration that they did was like, it was really bad because everyone was comparing it to Uncharted. Like, this is what you said earlier, right?
Yeah.
The previous generation, as it was coming out, you had Tomb Raider Underworld in particular. It was competing on the PS4, the PS3, the Uncharted series, which I've just been playing. Did I tell you I've been playing through that actually recently?
No.
I'm in the middle of Uncharted 2. I'm really enjoying it.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
Good one.
The previous generation was like struggling really hard against it, so they rebooted it again quite early to what we now see here. And I wouldn't say at all this is a clone of Uncharted, because there is a lot of other stuff in there. Particularly, this is like really. I haven't played Uncharted 3. Have you?
No, I haven't played it yet. That's the time where my PS3 was collecting dust, and I was like, oh, because I was on PC all the time.
Right, okay. Well, I'm pretty sure it doesn't get really adult and sort of mature and quite dark and grim, but this Tomb Raider game definitely does that. Like, survival is a massive part of the experience here, like a huge part. And you see some really horrible things. Like, do you remember the bit in this game where you drop into the giant pool of blood and there's just, like, bodies
Yeah.
everywhere? Like,
Yeah.
that's a pretty good example of how this game really wraps up, right? You think?
Right. It still has those Tomb Raider elements where there's something like supernatural that's gonna happen and stuff like that, like stuff that's still in Tomb Raider. It's just it almost seems like they built this story, just like you were saying, it was an origins like for the second game, because that second game is gonna be like she's Tomb Raider now, like she actually goes into tombs, because it's like Tomb Raider without tombs, really. Like the tomb is actually like a side quest now.
Yeah.
Like in this game.
So that's something that pissed people off too, were you kind of one of those people? Like, it's called... like, you didn't really care? Because
I didn't really care.
I didn't really care either. Like, everyone was like... well, not everyone, but a lot of people with this game were like, oh, it's called Tomb Raider and all the tombs are secondary objectives now. Okay, and that's true. In this game, as you explore around, right, it's not entirely linear, because as you explore the island, which is where this game's set, you'll find these tombs that you can go in for extra pickups that help with the crafting system and stuff, which itself is kind of lackluster, as we talked about just now. But they're all secondary objectives, and everyone's like, oh, it's Tomb Raider, why are they all secondary? And that I don't really care about. You know, it's just a name of the game. It's not necessary. It's a bit like, you know, we both come from Guild Wars, yeah, and a lot of people complain with that game, oh, there's no GVG in Guild Wars, and to me, I don't really care about that kind of stuff. It's quite superficial. But the tombs themselves, like, you did, how many did you do? Did you really just not do very many at all?
No, I didn't do any of them. I
accidentally
went into one and I was like, I went right back out. I was like, I want to continue with the story. Usually, if the game really grabs me in, I have to complete every single thing. But for this one, I'm not saying it's a bad game. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I just wasn't grabbed in enough for me to say, oh, I'm gonna complete everything because I'm gonna get like the best reward ever from, you know, the end of this, which I said before.
And, you know, it's totally fine for us to have different opinions on it as well. Like for me, I loved this game because like I come from I've played pretty much every Tomb Raider out there. I was really invested in the franchise before this even came out, so I kind of gave it more of a time of day. But you know, I can kind of see. I mean, were you really that into the franchise before this came out?
I played a lot of the first generation back on PlayStation. A lot.
Okay,
of the first
but you kind of skipped the more
I
recent ones?
Yeah, I didn't go like, oh my gosh, part 2 is out, and then I slotted in. No, I was never like that. But I did play a lot of it. It was basically part of my childhood, you know, with the triangular boobs. You know, like, you know, everyone knew about that. And this one is kind of no different. She's not as, you know, like, I don't know, like loose in this one, how they were, you know, with the short pants and everything, but
she's not superficial anymore.
I can't imagine like the voice actor for this game just sitting up in their recording studio like going like on the thing for like 2 hours, you know, because that's all you hear is her like whining and every time she gets hit and stuff like that. I don't know if
I actually saw, like, there was this really interesting thing. The voice actress who did the voice for Lara here, she did all of the mocap for it as well. So all these animations, all the movement of Lara you see, that's all that actress. And, like, I read this really interesting thing about their process for actually fleshing this character out. Because she really is a character now. She's not, like, just some dumb female character that, oh, look, she's got big boobs and there's nothing really there. She's a real character here, and that's that's something that's got a lot of praise for this game, and I think rightly so. But basically, this voice actress did so much. Like they did all of the raw lines, and then they went back through the entire game. And what you just said about her just making like questionable noises, she kind of watched someone play the whole game, all the cutscenes in like one long sitting, and literally she had a mic tied to her the whole time, and every time she thought Lara the character would make some utterance like that, she'd do it in real life, and she just sat there, and that was like part of the process. Oh my god, I can't believe I missed that rope so badly at that point. Like that was a part of the process. It can't be a Daily Deal video without me dying at some point. That was a part of the process for her, which I think is really, really interesting. She's a really believable character. I think this has been a really awesome reboot. You know, it's a bit like the Walking Dead video though. Again, I don't know how much I want to say about, like earlier you mentioned that a sequel could be coming. Like, do you want to try and explain that without spoiling stuff? Because that's a bit hard.
Yeah, it seems like they're introducing the character Lara in this game and really kind of separating themselves. And I think, I'm pretty sure, like she walked into a tomb, like in the game, and she's like, oh, I hate tombs. You know, and like, you know, just like a little snicker at that. There's a lot of little things like that. I think they're introducing the character, and that's why you don't see much tombs, right? So I don't think that's a bad thing either, because the gameplay is good. She is an action hero type of, you know, person, you know, but I think she's been trained. I think she's actually been trained to like fight, right? From her uncle, was it? Or for her father?
From her father, and then like her father's friends as well. This guy called Roth, like. There's a lot of backstory that they put there.
Yeah. So don't just think she's just like out there doing all these crazy things and she doesn't know anything. Like, you know, oh my gosh, I'm just a whiny little girl. Oh, my ship crashed. Oh, now I'm an action hero. No, they actually explain this thing.
They do a really believable take on the story because she's a very iconic character. I sort of feel like, you know, For probably all the wrong reasons, Lara Croft is one of the most iconic characters in gaming. I remember when I was a kid, there was this bit, right, where there was this, a TV advert for Lucozade that had Lara Croft in it. Did you ever see that? Did that ever, like, air over in the States?
No.
Like, she's a British character. She might have been bigger here. But there was an advert for Lucozade. Lucozade's like an energy drink, like quite an old energy drink. And it was just, like, insane for me to see her on TV there. And that's sort of where my love for the character, I think, originally started when I was a lot younger. And, you know, you follow her through all the games, and you do get to a point where it's like, oh, this is a bit tiresome, that she's not a very interesting character. And they rebooted it so faithfully that keeps her, in essence, still Lara Croft, but they add all this extra stuff to the story and to the idea of the franchise now, that it really has moved properly into, like, the 2010s, for example, instead of, you know, when it was last really successful, which was back in the 90s, which is exciting to me. And, you know, I'm glad that we're kind of showing this off, because I think a lot of people do just write Tomb Raider off, you know. They think, oh, okay, it's one of those.
It's one of those, hot girl, you know, with a gun. Pretty much.
And they think they need to understand all this other stuff, and you don't. You really don't. You can come into this totally fresh perspective, and it's a game, even though, like, you weren't entirely grabbed by it and you didn't go to all the teams, I do think this will grab people, like, completely newcomers to the franchise, in a really kind of special, cool way. So, yeah,
but for $12, yeah, I think it's definitely worth the 12.
What percentage is it at the moment?
It's 75% off.
It's 75% off. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I'm still having a lot of fun with it. If you guys do want more of an extended look at, like, I've got loads of videos of it out on my channel at the moment. The LP comes out at a snail's pace, but it does come out, so it's kind of going on there. And yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up, right? A bit of a quick look at Tomb Raider.
Yeah, definitely.
Today. All right, so I mean, today's deals, you guys can decide obviously which one you want to pick up. This would be my recommendation for today. I guess we'll see you tomorrow though, and I'm gonna lay down and just sink in all of the heat that's around me right now, and that's how I'm going to spend the rest of my day.
Are you like swimming in your sweat right now? Like, is your room filled with just water?
It's not that bad, but when I record, I have to, like, close my curtains and everything, and, like, so that it's not ridiculously echoey. So I'm just, like, stewing here at the moment. I need to get out. I'm looking at Lara near all this water, and I'm like, I just need to leave. Okay, so thanks very much for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
See you.